Don't you just hate it when your goat wakes you up in the morning?
Good morning, guys.
I'm Jules, and this is Juno.
And I'm Danny Riggs, and you're on ResTube. Today we have another interview for you, and I've been looking forward to this one like crazy. The interview today is with none other than Cerio, an artist who has been associated with the group since 1997's performance of Disfigured Night, which was released on DVD in 2004. The live performance was in Germany, was filmed by German television, and sponsored by Marlboro, strange enough. But it utilized a lot of illustrations by Steven, and you can also find them in the DVD's booklet itself. So, to get this show on the road, Steven, can you tell us when and how did you first become aware of the Residents?
I don't know. Let's see how he does with my name to start off. No, pronounced it wrong. Should we continue with this? Because I can't be interviewed by someone that can't pronounce my name. Or are you rolling? Oh, hi, Danny. I first came in contact with them when I was 13, so that would have been like 1979, I think. They were on night flight at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and that blew me away. I mean, I grew up only a few hours from New York, but we weren't exposed to the New York art scene or anything. Not that the Residents were a New York band, but I wasn't exposed to, like, you know, off Broadway, people pushing out paintings of, you know, moles onto the stage and that minimalistic music. I'd never heard anything like that. It blew me away. And then there was a radio station that we discovered in '83. It was the college radio station at Syracuse University, and it was WAER radio. And we would run tapes on our way to school so we could try to capture like 45 minutes of music, and you'd come home different days to different things. Like, we're like, what is this band, the Sex Pistols, you know? And it was fairly common stuff, but we weren't exposed to it. And then one day they played Title and Limbo, the Residents with Ronaldo and the Loaf, which got me overnight into Ronaldo and the Loaf. I think this was 82 or 83. It just sounded completely different than everything else I was listening to, which was a lot of prog rock. So it was a good dosage for me to change my listening habits for a little while and experience something new.
When and how did your collaboration start?
So how did I come to collaborate with them? Well, I've been living in New York. I moved to New York right as I got out of college in '87 and moved down with $800 in my pocket, which you could do then because my rent was $275 a month. And I would ride the subways and I would listen to Frank Zappa, Soft Machine, Coltrane, The Residents, and Ronaldo and the Loaf. And I had this idea that I wanted my art to sort of like look like what they were doing. So I would do a lot of sketching on the subway whenever, and then I found a job at a gallery so I could sketch all day when we weren't working. And I developed what I thought was representing this joy I heard in that sort of music. And then I heard that there was a Residents record sale out in Hoboken, and it was at the old Tectones office. And I went out there and I started talking to them, and I started doing some repackaging for them and some graphics. I repackaged a couple Ronaldo and the Loaf things, Arabic yodeling, and Elbow is Taboo, I think. Did I do Struve and Snaff? No, I just did those two. And then, of course, they had connections to the Residents, so I would just give copies of my work for them to pass over to the Residents. And then one day I got some mail, and they asked me to do a film, and it fell through. And then I heard about another film they mentioned, and then that fell through. I mean, the films never happened. And then I heard from them again. I'm thinking I'm never going to hear from them again. And then Bad Day at the Midway came through. So that was like a dream come true.
Didn't you illustrate some buyer die catalogs?
I was never asked to illustrate the buy or dies. They just used some of my art, the targets and stuff from Bad Day at the Midway, from my Dixie's Killikami shooting gallery, or our Dixie's Killikami shooting gallery that I worked on with Jim Ludke and the band, and I was thrilled.
So the Toy Tokyo figures, how did they come to pass?
Was it your idea or was it theirs?
So you asked about the Residence Toys, how it happened. I'd been talking about it with the Residence and with Pornographics run by Homer Flynn. And we'd been talking about it for years, just how it would be a cool idea. And then one day I just thought, let's do it. So I just did the sketches, and I went down to New York, and I had a connection with Lev Leverick over at Toy Tokyo, and I went in and pitched him the idea. And at first he wasn't too hot about it for whatever reason. And then a week later he called me, and he couldn't get enough of the idea, and he wanted to do them. So I made a decision to do them. I did all the drawings, ran them past the band, and he produced them. And yeah, we got them, and they were selling them. They sold hundreds of them at Museum of Modern Art gift shop. And I think a bunch of them were in that big refrigerator sale that the Residents did that they sold. So I think the toys are actually in the collection at MoMA too, which is pretty exciting. But I still have some Red Skulls left. I'm getting ready to customize a bunch of them.
Can you elaborate on what works of yours are in the New York MoMA? And how does it feel to be in their permanent collection?
The Museum of Modern Art, I still haven't gotten a clear list of what happened with that. I know there was films inducted into the permanent collection, and I believe Disfigured Night was part of that. And those refrigerators, with the one of the original eyeballs and everything was in it. So, and I know that I had prints in there and everything, but I still have never gotten a list or anything of what exactly was included in that.
Loss of the Lizard Lady.
What techniques did you use to do the inner sleeve?
The style in the middle of the Lizard Lady centerfold, that's a style like these that I've been doing these longer than my tight drawings. These are paintings that I started doing when I was in high school, where they were a little more influenced by folk art, like the whole idea of just sitting down and working and no formal, approach, and just letting your instincts take you, which is what I thought folk artists were doing, which I believe they are. But I've been doing them forever, and I wanted to use them for that project. I just thought it'd be a nice contrast having the tight stuff on the front, and then switch over to, the looser, strange stuff. And my buddy Ed, that's filming this. Hi, Ed. You should say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Filmed it and took the shots for me alongside of my friend Dale's Pond. I set it up a little grouping of them, a little carnival of all of them. And we shot them. We shot them from a canoe. I'd shot them from out in a canoe, and then I photoshopped and pieced it together. I just thought it was a nice contrast between to have something so unnatural looking in the natural world like that, to have them in their habitat. And as you see, like these larger ones are more in the vein of what was in that centerfold.
So Fresh Helen fits.
How long did you work on it?
About the book. This was a project I'd been talking about doing with Andreas over at the Great Psychophon, and we'd been talking about doing it, and he said, well, let's do it. And I said, okay. So I started it. And about 4 years later, he said, hey, did you ever keep thinking about that book? I was like, yeah, I've been working on it for 4 years, on and off. I'm not a cartoonist, so it takes me a little bit longer. I don't have shorthand for anything, really. And I don't know anything about comics. I just got into Jack Kirby like 5 years ago. I didn't even know who he was. I mean, I've read Undergrounds, the old Zaps. And I think I read two Mark Byers and some Rory Hayes, and I think that's probably about it. But my idea of narrative is in this, which it was free narrative. I would finish a frame, I would write what I did, and then I'd go sit down and start another drawing, and then I'd start the new drawing, and then I would write what happened. And I tried to write it like something that would happen on one strange day, where I didn't have in my head what anything was evolving to or anything. I just kept letting it evolve. I kept letting the character evolve and move around. And this is my, love note to the 70s and 80s residents, really. The very confusing psychedelic stuff where, like Vileness Fats record, and where it's like this soundtrack to something odd going on. And that's what this is really my love note to those days and from when I just got into them.
So, what was your favorite res project to work on?
Danke. Wow. Und eine Ihre Bestellung dazu? Dankeschön.
Vielen Dank auch.
Favorite res piece that I worked on. The most special and exciting one was definitely doing the targets and working with Jim Ludke and Homer Flynn from Pornographics on those. That was really exciting. Disfigured Night, though, that one was extra fun because I designed the masks, and Lee Barbier, she created them, and I was able to do more detailed drawings. So I liked that too. But those days I was pre-computer, so the way those were sent, even on the Jim Ludke days, the way those were sent was my originals are big, 22 by 30 or larger, and I would have to put those on a Xerox machine. Like I said, pre-computer, put them on piece by piece, tape them together, re-Xerox it again, and keep shrinking it down so I could have something I could send. Then I had to sit down with white watercolor and clean up the lines. Then I had to mount them on board. Then I had to put tracing paper over the top and color them and have points coming off telling the color. Red 75%, yellow 10%. I had to do all of those and then mail those to Jim, mail them to the residents, and physically, and then fax the stuff over with notes. And boy, I mean, if you did it with a computer, we would have saved easily 2 weeks from them working with somebody else. This was early 90s. I just didn't have a computer then. But I don't know. Doing the Icky Flicks posters was special too. But as far as big projects go, it's hard to pick between those two. Those were both a real blast.
What's your favorite project you weren't involved with?
One project that I did wish I worked on is I've always been in love with Vileness Fats. I would have loved to have been around. I don't know how old I was even when that movie came out, but just the idea of, the importance of meat and such great music on it, and the film sets for Vileness Flats was amazing. I loved the idea, having been there, and just it seemed like they were just on their toes and just cutting out cardboard and making these costumes and building this big set. That just seemed very exciting. That's something you daydream about.
So who are your favorite residence-related artists?
Favorite res-related artist, Ronaldo Malouf. Title and Limbo record is what got me really into both of them. And great album. And man, a lot of great stuff on Ralph. I mean, all of it. The Snake Finger albums, everything. But I have a special place in my heart for Ronaldo and the Loaf, definitely. Oh, hey, here's the art that I'm finishing up for the new Ronaldo and the Loaf poster for the new movie that Alex Roten is working on. Little tease on that. I'm working on it with Ronaldo and the Loaf artist Paxad.
What can we look forward to in the future?
Looking forward to. No plans. No plans right now. But are there? Not sure. Or am I? There is, or is there? I'm being cryptic. Or am I being cryptic?
Do you take commission work or requests from people interested in buying your art?
Yeah, commissions. Yeah, I'm an artist. I take commissions. I do everything from people having me do tight drawings to doing paintings to designing toys. I used to work as an illustrator back in the 90s when I just got to New York, so I'm used to being on deadline. I just did a series of 18 paintings for someone that they already have hung in their home. They wanted a whole series of 18. I'm designing toys for someone right now. I'm working on paintings. We're working on new gallery shows. I'm working on a new book, but it's a written book. I've been working on it for about 13 years now. But yeah, anyone's very welcome to call me, contact me with commissions. You can contact me through my website. You can contact me through Instagram, my Facebook page, all of those. And yeah, you can get a hold of me. I'm easy to get a hold of. And if you're looking for any of the originals from the new Resonance book from Fresh Helen Fits, they're on stevencerio.com. So there's a whole bunch of those for sale. I think there's still like about 75 left out of a couple hundred or something. So those are available too. But you can always get a hold of me.
Having worked with the group now for over 20 years, can you tell us?
Who are the residents?
The residents were made out of frozen vinegar, and everyone knows that. So if you see frozen vinegar, you know it's them. And every time a butterfly rises up in the air, you know that the color pink is soon to follow. So these little underground messages always happen, and it moves the rocks around. But even when the rocks move, it doesn't mean anything anymore because they're lost. And there's certain things in the minerals that make the sky open up. And when the sky opens up, everything falls down and everyone cries and everything's scary. And then you realize you can take a balloon and go right up through the hole and everything's fine. You don't have to clean everything up. But there's always people you gotta sweep. You gotta sweep up all of it. And you go and you sweep up the balloon. And when you knock it down, these pieces of dust fall down. And as the sun hits them, the sun gets scared even by the dust coming down. And everyone says, don't be scared of the dust. But it doesn't matter. People are going to get scared of the dust one way or another. So they fight it. And they fight the dust, and the dust in their head becomes jewels and crystals. But it's not. It's just dust falling down. And then the dust scares the dust. So then the dust runs away. And then airplanes fly through the hole. And then you have a whole other civilization full of frozen pieces of vinegar, little droplets. And then that's where the residents live. And that's who they are. And that's where they come from. And that's where they populate. Thanks, guys. I'm walking off camera twice. I'm walking off camera again. Here, let me walk off camera again, Ed. All right, I'm walking off camera. Cut. Thanks, guys. It was fun.
Indians and cars getting coffee.
Eating salami on toast.
Marmalade and jam. I want a kiss.
Sorry.
I'm working here for kisses. That's me.
Sorry. Hey, Pip.
What can we look
Don't do
forward
that.
to in the future? I'm just trying to find.
You were doing great. You really were. You look very pissed.
Mighty tired.
Yeah, something
No,
like
I'm
that.
not pissed. I'm really
Okay.
just getting tired.
Well, tell your face, okay? Why did I know you were going to do that? And one more time.